Talk a little bit more about that competition. The effort to lure Chinese visitors begins long before they even leave home. American companies are eager to spend money targeting tourists still in China. That's where people like Evan Saunders come in. He started a company nearly 4 years ago called Attract China. He says Chinese tourists aren't traveling all this way just to go eat Chinese food in Chinatown.
Yeah, exactly right. They're looking for a unique American experience. You know, rewind about 10 years ago when it was predominantly group tourists coming over to America. They would see all the main attractions, all the main cities. They would go from LA to New York in 12 days on a bus, hop on, hop off, which was a great experience for them. But nowadays, it's predominantly independent Chinese travelers coming from China to America. And they've done some of those main tourist attractions before, and now they really want to go deeper into these cities, into day trips from cities, and experience the best that America has to offer. That does fall in a lot of different categories. Oftentimes that's restaurants that we have that offer great American meals, whether that's lobster or steak or buffalo even. We also see attractions and activities where they get more involved and more experienced, not just in the cities, but going hour, 2 hour, 3 hours outside the cities to see the natural activities we have throughout our country.
It's fascinating. What's also interesting about Chinese tourists is they tend to spend more than tourists from most parts of Europe or Latin America. Why is that?
That's a great question, but it is a fact they do spend more. And the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Penny Pritzker, is predicting by 2021, Chinese tourists will be spending $8.5 billion per year here in America, supporting over 440,000 jobs. So they're spending it mainly on 4 categories that we see: hotels, restaurants, retailers, and attractions or activities. Why do they choose to spend that money here? Well, it is dependent on which category you're looking at. In the retail sector, oftentimes due to taxes, those same products that are available in China are simply less expensive here in America. But moreover, they're spending more money here in America because of the exciting activities and experiences that they can get involved with. They've saved their money in order to spend it here in America on these experiences. And when they're here on the ground, they're not as price conscious. They really don't want to look at price being the factor of whether they can do something or not. They're so excited to be here, so excited to get involved, and so excited to make memories that last a lifetime that they're just not focused on price as much when they're here on the ground.
Evan, you got there early by happenstance in a way. You mentioned Penny Pritzker. She's figured this thing out. Who's out in front saying, look, this is a great market. Let's grab it. Let's do something special for the Chinese tourists?
You know, it's the organizations or businesses that take a two-sided approach. We see a lot of effort here in America to get businesses or DMOs China ready, but not a two-sided effort to actually expose those businesses or DMOs to Chinese in China during their research and planning phases. We've seen a lot of successes recently in the car rental business, these car rental operations that are marketing themselves to Chinese travelers who are now coming over as independent Chinese travelers and want to rent cars to be able to drive from San Francisco to LA or Vegas and see more of the country. We've also seen airlines really capture this market. In 2011, there were about 16 nonstop routes from China to America. Fast forward to this year, and there are already 41, and there'll be more announced this year. So we've seen a lot of these transportation industries. Similarly, we've seen hotels really go after this market because they know when a Chinese person steps off a plane, they've already booked all their hotels in all of their cities. So it really takes that proactive approach, engaging that Chinese person perhaps up to 6 months before they actually come to America.
Evan, thanks so much for talking to us. We know you're busy, especially with all these tourists coming here to the United States. One suggestion to you, don't bring them to Boston just yet. Wait until some of that snow melts.
Well, you know what? It's amazing to see how many Chinese are coming to Boston during Chinese New Year. Snow is not stopping them. They've been actually planning this trip for 3-4 months already. We'll see about an 18% increase on Chinese visitors during this time, which is fantastic for these businesses because many locals aren't frequenting the same restaurants or retailers simply due to the snow. But the Chinese will still come here, still spend less amount of time in their hotel room and out at those same attractions, those restaurants, those retailers, etc.
Well, they're a hardy bunch. Evan, thanks again for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.